Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Edges and Sledges Cricket Podcast. I'm your host Ashwin. I'm joined by DJ, who has just come back after a long day of playing cricket himself. DJ, I hear you had some arguments on the field in your cricket game too, as we had Virat and Ishant getting into some arguments on the field at the Chinnaswamy. So it's been a big cricket day for you. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm okay. We unfortunately lost the game. I played a horrible shot coming down the track, missed it, and got bowled. Probably too influenced by the IPL, right? Like watching
Yeah.
these guys hit 36
Watching
runs
Sunil
in an
Narayan
over.
get bowled off Bumrah, and then you were
Yeah,
same
that
thing
was a
happened.
great moment. But no, we lost. But yeah, there were some moments of friction. But in the end, everybody shook hands, and it was a good day of cricket. Yeah.
So I partly say that because I know that although you're recording this, you haven't yet had a chance to fully watch the Sunday games. And Virat was batting against Ishant and hits him for six and basically starts abusing him or just getting into banter with him. Now you could argue we couldn't hear it. We're not sure if it's friendly or not, but it's a fired up Virat. And two balls later, Ishant gets him out and kind of runs towards him. But Ishant, he's this jovial, happy guy. And so starts giving it back to Virat, but in a fun, friendly way, like kind of hip checks him in a friendly way. And Kohli has this like sort of half smile on his face. But I was thinking about this. There's maybe no other bowler in the world who can do that to
I
Virat.
mean, Kohli and Ishant have played together since they were under 19
They are
teammates,
both
right?
35, both from Delhi,
Yeah.
and have played together. Basically, Varun and I were texting about this. Basically, 17 or 18 years they've
Yeah.
played together. So
They played their
anyway,
whole career together. So, I
I can
mean,
actually think of nobody better to suspend some of the tension in the air and like give Virat a little bit of his medicine back, other than Ishant Sharma. He may be the
yeah, and
only one.
Ishant was a big part of his bowling attack when Kohli was at the helm. Don't
Yeah,
forget. Remember
yeah,
the Steve Smith, Ishant shaking his head
yeah.
moment? And so Ishant can get stuck in as well. I mean, it don't have
That's
the
great.
opportunity often enough as a bowler in the IPL. So when you can make hay while the sun shines, man, if you get the big man Kohli out, if you get the king, yeah,
Absolutely right.
it's worth digging in.
Yeah, and so it was great, great moment. But I jumped ahead. I feel like we've reached basically a really interesting turning point in the points table. So I'm going to start there, DJ. Since we last spoke, which would have been Monday of earlier this week, it's now Sunday. The Kolkata Knight Riders have just been on a continued tear. So they won one more game, which makes it 4 in a row for them. And they're officially the only team to have qualified. And now, officially, although we had sort of set it up front, officially, the Mumbai Indians and the Punjab King at the bottom are eliminated. No major surprises there, except you would have thought sort of Rajasthan sealed their spot, maybe ahead of Kolkata, but pretty predictable, right?
I mean, Rajasthan seem to have fallen away. They're still on 16 points,
Yeah, so
right? They
Rajasthan have
lost
lost
both their
3 in a
games
row.
this. Yeah, they
Yeah,
lost both their games this week. We saw an interesting moment with Sanju Samson as well, which we should talk about on field. He seemed to question the shy hope catch. There's been lots of this kind of
lots
niggly
going on.
stuff
Yeah.
towards the end of this IPL, which I'm quite enjoying actually, if truth is to be told.
Yeah, so KKR's qualified. Rajasthan still looks pretty solid. I mean, given their net run rate, will be fairly difficult, even with 2 more losses, for them to get knocked out. But 2 massive losses, and anything is possible. The Delhi team, unfortunately, needed to win both. I think mathematically still alive, but basically out. And the fact that the loss to the RCB team this week, or today rather, was by 47 runs didn't help in terms of
Okay,
net
yeah.
run rate.
And what is up with RCB? 5 wins in a row, in with a
RCB,
chance of qualifying.
they have jumped to
What?
5th. I mean, what do you think it is? And we'll get into some more of the specifics and some of the incidents that happen and Kohli's magnificent run out and his great 92 and things like that. But what do you think it is? Is it on the trot of, I guess they would have been 2 wins from their first 10 matches. No, am I doing that math? 2 wins from their first 7 and then 5 of the next 5. Do you think when you're 2 of 7 sitting there halfway through the season on 4 points, we've seen this with RCB before, but do you think there's low pressure cricket, nothing to lose, and then you find your best form?
I mean, there's a little bit of that. There's a little bit of, um, I mean, I don't know what to say really, man. To win 5 on the bounce, it's really unusual in the IPL. Even the best teams, the Chennai's, the Rajasthan Royals, you end up having a streak where you lose a couple of games, even when you're playing well.
Yeah.
So to win 5 in a row, it's I think where this goes is like RCB fans, and of course they're probably the most fanatic fan base in the IPL, right? And I say
Mhm.
fanatic in a nice way. I don't mean it
Yeah,
in a bad
positive.
way.
Yeah.
But what it gives them is the hope that they may qualify for the playoffs. And it's the hope, as an Indian fan, as you know, it's the hope that kills you. And
As an Indian
so
fan, as a Delhi fan, all of
RCB, I don't know. I still don't think they're going to qualify. I think CSK will still pull ahead. We saw them win today. But
yeah. So
man, if I'm an
see,
RCB fan, I'm sitting and doing all the maths, but they do it every year. That's the worst
they do.
part. RCB fans are probably the best mathematicians in the country.
That is well said. I mean, because what it will come down to, by the way, SRH has 2 matches left against Gujarat and Punjab, and they'll back themselves to win at least one and secure most most likely secure that third spot. And so CSK versus RCB, which will be on the 18th of May, one of the last matches of the season, will basically be a potential. I don't want to call it quarterfinal, but yeah, almost a quarter, like a
The
knockout game.
Kaveri Derby.
There it is. You heard it here.
Oh,
Um,
which dosa is better?
yeah,
Chennai
I mean,
dosa or Bangalore dosa?
not to write off Lucknow. So Lucknow is in an interesting spot where they play both Delhi and Mumbai as their last 2 games. And if they win both, and they win both by a big margin, which they would want to do, they can also do it. So kind of an interesting spot where I would say not mathematically, but basically mathematically, 4 teams are now out in Mumbai, Punjab, Delhi, and Gujarat.
So it's Delhi like why is Delhi out because of the net run
Delhi's not
rate being really
mathematically
low?
out because it's entirely so Delhi. If I did the math correctly, because I'm basically an RCB fan at this point, well, we need SRH to lose both by big margins, and then that's basically it, and then win against Lucknow by an also a huge margin, and SRH has 2 games in hand. If they win even one, we're basically done.
But there's so much to
Vic,
talk about with each of these teams. Rishabh Pant missing the biggest game probably of the
yeah,
season for Delhi. Like LSG, the owner drama with Rahul. Samson's fight with the umpires. I mean, every each of these games has a story of its own to tell, right?
Yeah, it was a big week. So why don't we jump right into it? Let's run through some of the games, some of the action that happened. The first one was Hyderabad versus Mumbai, and I'm only going through game by game. We won't cover all the details, but it just helps me remember. And the highlight there in chasing 173 for 8, Mumbai got a win, which seems very incredibly rare, but they were still 31 for 3 while chasing 180 odd. And then Surya Kumar Yadav found his form. And you were messaging me at the point saying, who do we want to win? Do we want Mumbai to win so that we have a better shot as Delhi fans from a point standpoint? And my response was just, man, I'm just thrilled from an India standpoint to see Sky back and forth. I mean, 102 of 51 balls, match winning knock. How it wasn't the most formidable total at a ground like the Wankhede, honestly, but still 31 for 3 with the kind of season Mumbai had. Full points for that knock, right?
Yeah, great knock. But the one thing I was thinking about while watching that was yes, they've come and they've said, yeah, we're playing for pride and stuff. But if you look at the India squad, some of the key players in that squad, Rohit, Hardik, Bumrah, Sky, they're all Mumbai Indians players. And like, you want them almost to have a bit of a bounce at the end of the IPL so that they carry that form into the T20 World Cup because it's demoralizing coming in. What is it, ninth or 10th right now? I don't know in the
Yeah.
table
Yeah.
as a five-time champion. I mean, that's a shocker. That's the kind of stuff that CEOs get sacked for, right, in companies.
So let me jump ahead and ask you about that then. So I was going to go chronologically, but Mumbai's only other game this week was against Kolkata. Rain curtailed game, kind of a fun, weird vibe to see the players commingling early on in each other's dressing rooms when the rain was happening. Glad that we got a 16 over game. I don't think we've lost any more overs than this to rain at all this season, if I'm not mistaken, which is pretty great. KKR made 157. First off, I sort of mentioned it, but Narayan shouldering his arms to I mean,
What a
how great is
ball!
Bumrah? Yeah, how great
And
is
this is the
Bumrah,
point,
man?
right? You just keep every time you see it, you're like, man, this guy is so special.
Yeah,
Because this one, I mean, it started off like looking like it was going to miss the stumps, and then it
yeah,
just curls back
yeah,
in and takes
yeah.
the off stump out.
Phenomenal.
Just unbelievable. But you think back to the England series that that those test matches that Bumrah was playing in, like, I mean, he was unbelievable. He was just absolutely brilliant. Pollard came out and said there's no question of us resting Bumrah for the
Hmm.
T20 World Cup,
Okay.
which is another case of franchise versus national duty, which
Yeah.
is yeah, I mean, uh, i- ideally for Indian fans, you'd want Bumrah to be wrapped up in cotton wool. He doesn't need to play these meaningless games because Mumbai can't actually qualify. So, but he came in, steamed in, took the wickets, and seemed to enjoy bowling that spell.
Yeah.
So he's
I
in
would
good
bet
nick.
from a franchise owner or a coach lens, even finishing the season on the back of, let's say, 2 wins on the trot, which won't be the case for Mumbai now, but is worth it. Just as you go to auctions next year, etc., momentum, recency bias, all matters. But the reason I jumped to this game is because in chasing just 158 runs in 16 overs and getting a decent start on one end with Kishan, we talk a lot about strike rate. We will come to KL Rahul's knock. We will talk about Virat Kohli, etc. Rohit Sharma has had an absolutely appalling IPL. And you can look back and say he's probably had, and I might be being a little harsh, he's probably had 4 bad years in a row at this point. I mean, I can't remember a standout season other than one-off knocks for the last 4 years with as a batter. He's opening the batting. He is now going in as captain, and his deputy in Hardik none for 32 in 3 overs and 2 off of 4 balls. Now, full credit to Varun Chakravarti, who bowled an absolutely phenomenal spell. To bowl 2 for 17 in 4 overs in a shortened game is just phenomenal. But where are you at now on Rohit and Hardik as captain and vice captain of India, 5 weeks out from a World Cup?
It's a hard question to answer, man. I mean, where am I with this? I mean, we got some interesting questions after the last episode saying, why haven't you talked about Abhishek Sharma at all? Maybe there was a bit of
Mhm.
recency bias because he just smacked the LSG guys all over the place for 75 of 20 something balls. Um, Look, Rohit is a fantastic player, both in tests and ODIs. You don't get me wrong when I say this. He's a fantastic player. He's India's biggest six hitter in that format, the ODI format particularly, and he saw that come to the fore in the 2023 World Cup last year. Is he India's best opening option, existing opening option? I don't think so. I mean, I saw a clip where Matty Hayden was saying, if I had to put this team together, because there's a lot of chat about Kohli, Virat and Kohli, Virat and Rohit opening, and Hayden was like, you know what, I'm okay for Kohli to open because he's one of the best in the top six, which I agree because he takes advantage of hits through gaps, hits over the top. He'll hit lots of fours in that with little risk. But if I had to do that, it'd be Yashasvi Kohli, left hand, right hand. I would put Sky at 3, and I would put Rohit at 4.
I missed that.
R-
That's such a strange, interesting comment.
But Rohit is batted at 4 for the Mumbai Indians previously. He's done well. He scored hundreds from there. And Hayden said, and I haven't double checked these
Hmm.
stats, that his stats batting T20 at 4 are actually really good. Now, there was a time where Rohit was doing great things in the T20 game. I'd say about the 2020, 2021, 2020, early 2020 season where he did really well. He was hitting those sixes in New Zealand to win the super over and stuff. What I've seen this season is apart from that 100, because he had a decent start to the IPL, apart from that 100, he is hitting strokes that are not conventionally associated with Rohit Sharma, right? He's hitting reverse sweeps. He's hitting switch. He doesn't need to bat like that. He's too
Yeah.
good to.
Yeah.
He would just hit down the ground. He would he'd pull it. He'd like slog sweep it. He'd hit straight down the ground. He was a magnificent player of spin. But I
And
saw
what
him
you've
playing
always
some
said,
odd
and
shots against the KKR spinners.
yeah, what you've always said about Rohit is he always look is one of those cliches, but one of the guys who looks like he has more time on the ball than anybody else. Is he starting to lose that a little bit with age? Maybe do you think it's so that, and so he's compensating by reverse slog
But
sweeps, and
it's
things
also
like that?
non-stop, right? Like he's come out of the World Cup. They've then
Yeah,
played the 5 match
yeah,
test series where he's been captain. That's mentally draining. They were one down, they went 4-1 up. They've gone into the IPL. He's got to do all the press conferences for the World T20. It's tiring, and that's actually what I'm worried about for this Indian
yeah.
team, that they are not going to have the mental space to chill, right?
Yep. Yeah.
So, and
Uh,
also the other thing we should talk about is Samson and Jadeja. That's I don't
yeah.
know whether you're keeping a note of this, but like the obstructing the field was another
We're
great
coming. We're
moment.
getting to it. Before we wrap on Rohit really quick, opening in the IPL has played 101 innings, 1 century and 14 half centuries, average of 28, strike rate of 131. At number 4, 86 innings. So to your point, a lot. 19 half centuries, so more, 50 plus scores. Average of 33, so average is 5 runs better. And strike rate is 129, only slightly slower. So there's a point
But
to be made
he
for him at
hasn't
4.
probably batted it for ever since he's had to go quicker.
Correct. And so, yeah.
I,
So anyway, DJ, we're going to cover one more match, one more incident in this sort of speed round of a busy week before we take a quick break. Delhi played Rajasthan at the Arun Jaitley Stadium in Delhi. It was a must-win game for Delhi, and Rajasthan looking to get back on the board. I'm not going to get into too much of it. Delhi made 221. Great batting from Jake Fraser McGurk and
Jake
Abhishek
Fraser
Porel.
McGurk, the
Just went
one
absurd.
man show.
And would have been today too, by the way. If you hadn't watched the game against RCB, got out off of a straight drive back by his partner, flicked. I think it was Yash Dayal was the ball hand and got run out. I mean, just the most unfortunate. Like he was
Unbelievable.
looking great. But I want to ask you about Sanju Samson. You talked about it a little bit. 86 of 46 balls. Got out, Mukesh Kumar, Shea Hope catch. And I can't remember the last time I saw Sanju this fired up about a decision. I kind of like it, to be honest. I like the brand of cricketers who get into the arguments fight only because it shows me how passionate they are about it. You want to talk us through that incident a little bit?
No, there's two things about this. One, he was batting really well. He got 80 off almost nothing. I don't know. What did you say? 40 balls, something
86
like
or
that?
46, yeah.
Yeah, fantastic batting. Secondly, Khalil was trying to hide the ball outside off stump, ended up bowling 4 wides consecutively, ended up giving a 9 minute over that eventually ended up in Rishabh Pant being banned for the RCB game because they went over time. Now, a lot of that was a function, sadly, of Sanju Samson just smacking every ball out of the ground.
Yeah, yeah. What is your
And
take as a headline on the rule? Like, obviously, we're going to say it seems insane. Rishabh knockout game, and I get it. They appealed it and all that, but Akshar had to captain in the RCB
yeah,
game. But what's your take on that rule? Because
I
I'm
think the
both.
appeal was appalling, by the way, because apparently the reason why the appeal was unsuccessful, and this is why IPL teams need lawyers, I think, is because they did not provide enough substantial evidence or substantiate the fact that there was time wasted with Sanju Samson remonstrating with the umpire. They didn't tell them how much time was wasted. They just said, "Yeah, it was time wasted." Like, but you can't say that, right, in a proper hearing.
Are
So
you raising your hand to go be a Delhi Capitals or any IPL team lawyer on
I
it?
can send them the rate card.
There it is. Great.
That's
I
all
mean,
I
is it
can say
cheaper
at
than
this
8
stage.
crores for Kumar Kushagra, who made like 6 runs all season?
Yeah, I think I can come in under that cap.
All right. But talk to me about Samson's.
For
Oh, wait. So what is your take on the rule, though? The captain does need to have some accountability. I understand. We had many games last season, 4+ hours. So how do you reconcile those
I
with
think
also
it's
like
fine.
Rishabh missing out is insane.
It's fine. I mean, but it was his third offense. It
Yeah.
wasn't his first offense. It's not like
Yeah.
you've got one strike,
Yeah.
you're off. You've got 3 strikes, and this was his third strike, and he's been sitting on it for about 8 games, I believe. So, I mean, I get it. You need to finish the games before midnight, right? It's ridiculous. The school kids need to go to sleep. I
Yeah.
don't know. Maybe it's school summer holidays right now. I've lost track
Yeah.
because the IPL has been running for 10 months. But um, yeah, it's. I think the
So
rule is fine. It was
so
applied
then
fine
talk
as well, and too bad.
so then talk to me quickly about Samson's dismissal. Shea Hope grabs it,
Yeah. So
claims
then
it,
this claims
and
it. Then he like does a little dance on the
mhm.
boundary, just like tiptoes because he's about to overbalance, but he does well to keep his body in. But there are some frames where it could be argued that his foot or his shoelace or something touched the boundary cushion. It's arguable. Like there's shadows and stuff. Like you don't know. The third umpire went with the fielder on that occasion, which I think is the guidance given to them. That benefit of the doubt goes to the fielder
Hmm.
which is interesting because the benefit of the doubt otherwise goes to the batter. And if you listen carefully in the background, some of the commentators are like, "Oh, he's touched the
Mhm.
cushion there," but like the umpire didn't think that, and That's fine then. For Sanju to remonstrate at that point, he got fined for it. Again, that's the price you pay. I think he got 30% fine.
I was sort of hoping
Sang
he'd call all his players off the field in protest. And
no, Sangakara was there, and like,
yeah.
I mean, he's obviously had his share of. So Sanga's a law student. He never actually became a lawyer, but like Sangha knows the
Oh,
rules,
there you
right?
go.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, he was looking to Sangha, and Sangha told him to stay out there. At one point, there were three batters out there, which was ridiculous. But in the battle of the keepers, which RR versus DC was, I think Samson has put his nose ahead of Mr. Pant,
Hmm.
and Pant played one game less. Top
Yeah.
scorer for the DC franchise as well, sitting out of a crucial game. That's a bad look, man.
But I think with the bat, I mean, RR would have won that game if Samson was there. It's pretty safe to say. If they looked like they were getting close to getting over the line, and then they fell
So, but
short.
then Kuldeep bowled a fantastic over as well, because we were all sitting there going, "Why isn't he bowling spin?" And that also didn't help the over rate because he was bowling quicks. He kept bowling Khalil, kept bowling Mukesh, and when
And
Kuldeep
you
comes in
know,
and takes two wickets in an over, and that changes the game again.
you're equal parts, or I'm equal parts frustrated that he didn't bowl Kuldeep earlier, and also appreciate that when he did bowl, he was potentially saving him for Rovman Powell
Rovman,
and
his old
Donovan.
teammate,
Yeah, yeah. So
for whom he called the players off the field the last time.
unbelievable. Life comes full circle. Yeah, busy match, lots going on. I think you said it. If you're an India fan, two wicket keepers both doing well is probably good. But I do sit here saying Samson has just edged his way ahead of Rishabh Pant, which probably net good for Team India. DJ, why don't we take a very quick break in this again speed round episode? There's a lot that happened this week. We will come right back and talk about the rest of the action. Welcome back to the Edges and Sledges Cricket Podcast. DJ, I sense you starting to feel the tiredness from a day of cricket, so you're starting to get exhausted, but hang in with me. If you're watching us on YouTube, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and if you are listening to us on any podcasting app, give us a 5-star review. We'd love to see it. We'd love to hear from you. DJ, we talked about strike rates. We talked a little bit about Virat. We talk about Virat all the time. We talked a little about Rohit Sharma. The next game was in Hyderabad, and the Lucknow team traveled there. And the quick rundown of how this played out is Quinton de Kock, for some reason, was brought back in. I don't know why they still haven't really tried Kyle Mayers in a big way. I don't know why they keep going back to de Kock. It's fine. Stoinis failed. Rahul and Krunal Pandya put on a partnership at about a run a ball, slightly below a run a ball. Rahul made 29 of 33. Krunal made 24 of 21. And at this point, you're saying, gosh, this pitch is brutal. Ball doesn't seem to be coming onto the bat. Hard to bat. Then you have Nicholas Puran and Ayush Badoni put on just shy of 100 runs in like 52 balls, 99 runs in 52 balls, I think. And you're saying, oh, maybe the pitch is getting better. Maybe it isn't quite as bad as you thought. And then, as they have done many times this season, Abhishek Sharma and Travis Head, I mean, Abhishek Sharma comes out, makes 75 of 28 balls, that you alluded to, and was the slowest strike rate in his own team by like 15%. I mean, Travis Head 89 off 30, 167 chased down in 9.4 overs. Every bowler went for above 14 and a half runs on over economy rate. I mean, just absolutely mind blowing. There's no amount of numbers I can throw at you, and it was just mind blowing. By the way, Abhishek Sharma is not on the list of like most fours hit because he just seems to keep hitting sixes. But let's talk about the reaction after that, right? So there's a clip that sort of went viral. KL Rahul talking to the owner of the Lucknow team. Yeah, what exactly happened and what is your take on that?
So the owners actually have come under scrutiny this week as well because you saw Part Jindal losing it a little
Yeah,
bit in the
celebrating Shea
Delhi
helps to
game.
think. Yeah,
Yeah,
Sanju
in the
Samson.
Delhi game was at the Samson dismissal, and he was screaming out, 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 which is pretty funny because Samson used to play for Delhi a little while ago.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and this looked like, and I don't know whether this is fake news or it's not, because there was some chat that KL is not going to continue as captain, but
Mm-hmm.
that was a weird look for this franchise owner to be like basically giving KL Rahul what seemed like a headmaster's lecture. It was like when you're in school and you've like dropped a catch and then PT sir tells
Mm-hmm.
you to take rounds of the ground. It was the professional equivalent of that, and you're like, dude, like, okay, Ashwin, you and I sit here and we talk crap, like we talk shit because we're fans of the game, right? But when you're an owner of an IPL team and there's an India cricketer standing in front of you, I think you should do your thing owning the team and let them do their thing playing the cricket. Because, and this is, remember, this is, I think this is the RP Goenka group, right? That
Yep,
owns
yep.
Super Giant. This is the same guys that removed MS Dhoni as captain of RPS,
Mm-hmm.
Rising
Mm-hmm.
Pune Super
Mm-hmm.
Giant, replacing him with Steve Smith. Yes, a successful move in the second season as they made the final. But should franchise owners be interacting publicly in that direct manner, clearly upset by something? I don't know. I think it's a little bit
Yeah,
of
I
an
think
odd look.
the word you said there that resonates with me is just the choice of publicly, right? I actually do like when owners are hands on. I don't want clubs, franchises to be owned by venture
Private
capitals
equity.
that are private equity that are nameless, faceless, etc. I like that Shahrukh shows
That's
up and
only I think CVC that owns Gujarat Titans.
yeah. So I like it. I think they have to acknowledge that cameras are on you when you're in the field, and there's differences between what happens in a dressing room and what happens outside. At the same time, I wanted to scream at KL Rahul, like, what were you doing? Like, and Rahul came out at the, as best as he could and said, listen, these guys would, even if we made 280 at the rate they were batting, they would have chased it down. But man, you can't be 29 or 33 now, like as an opener in an IPL with the kind of season we had. You just can't. Just doesn't.
But
Just
I'll
doesn't.
tell you, strike rate is overrated. So
All right. On that happy note,
maybe
let's
that's what he was
go.
telling the franchise owner.
On that happy note, we went to, if he definitely doesn't have a job. We moved to Dharamshala, and this was the Virat Kohli special. And there was other stuff that happened. And Rajat Patidar, I have to give him a shout out because he made back-to-back 50s this week and has looked like an absolutely different batter. But Kohli made 92 of 47. And then although RCB bowled well, there was a point when Shashank Singh was batting there, had already hit 2 sixes, uh, and Virat instituted. By the way, I was making you watch this video right before we hit the record button. I should have recorded your reaction, but that run out where he ran in, 35-year-old ran in full speed from the boundary, picks up while falling over, flings his arm, direct hit, just over one stump in view, and Shashank Singh gets out, and that's a turning point in the game. I mean, RCB ended up getting Punjab out for 181 in 17 overs. I mean, won by 60 runs.
Yeah.
What
It's
a
the
match for
Kohli
Virat.
hitting the ground after that gets me,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
it shows you the
Oh, he's
passion
fired
with
up.
which he's
Yeah,
doing it, man.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
that's a 35-year-old that,
Doesn't have anything else to prove. Doesn't need anything.
yeah,
Yeah,
but he's still out there. He's still improving. When you tell him he can't bat against spin in the middle overs, he's like, I can bat against spin in the middle overs. I can pick
yeah.
my strike rate up. The thing with Kohli is that, like, you tell him that you can't do something, and he will go out of his way to prove you wrong. Let's talk about Jimmy Anderson, who's just retired right now.
Yeah.
We'd send him a tweet congratulating him on a good career, but we're blocked by him. So that's a different story. When Jimmy Anderson had his number in 2014, averaging 130, averaging 13.4 over 10 innings in
Yeah,
2014, the next season, the next time India toured England, Kohli got 593 runs,
yeah,
right? Including 300s or 200s, averaging just a shade under 60, and captain. And you tell him you can't play seam in England. He says, okay, I'll show you how to play seam in
I'll show
England.
you. Yeah,
Yeah, highest run scorer by a mile on both sides, and just, I mean, brilliant. Yeah. Like, it's it's kind of weirdly inspiring to watch him do it as well still, because it makes, like, you think that, yeah, I mean, age is just a number, right? Like, you can always get better.
yeah. It's
We
both
say, as both
somehow
of us have a bit of white in our beards now.
a lot of white, dude. Not even a bit. I think it's quite a lot. Yeah. Somehow Kohli's attitude is both incredibly inspiring about proving his naysayers wrong, and also that of a 4-year-old who says, "You can't let me do that. I want to do that." Like that's
Yeah,
exactly how
exactly.
he behaves. But phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. I mean, and by the way, what I said to you guys, we are big Kohli fans. It's fine. We acknowledge it. But I think getting out on 92 after he was 92 of 46, gets out, finishes innings on 92 of 47 was probably the best thing from a PR standpoint for him, because typically he would have been 92 of 46, taken 5, 6 balls to make the last 8 runs, and gotten to a slower century, and then gotten criticism for slowing down in the 90s. He didn't this time. He went for the swing. I actually think 92 or 46 getting 47 being out, going for a big shot was the best thing that could have happened for his for his image or PR, even
PR.
though to me he didn't need it.
Yeah.
The one other thing I'll ask you, DJ, and I'm going off topic, but as I look at the difference between Rohit and Kohli, probably the biggest difference is the singles and doubles,
It's fitness.
right? And it comes back to fitness. But Rohit has always relied on stand and swing, and he's trying to do that again this year and not getting as much success. Kohli has had innings this season where he hasn't had quite as much success on, stand and deliver, go for the big shot, but he always gets that single. He always converts that 1 into 2, 2 into 3. And so the scoreboard is always ticking. He's always getting a break. It feels like Rohit is either 4-6 or dot, which I'm oversimplifying. Is that probably the biggest difference in your ability to unleash if you're not rotating the strike?
I don't want to go back into the Rohit versus Kohli
Yeah.
debate. I think we should appreciate Kohli for what he is, but he plays a slightly different role from what Rohit
Mm-hmm.
does. Rohit
Mm-hmm.
Rohit is he's the aggressor, whereas Kohli is more the anchor, right? Like Kohli will go hard in the first six, but then he will try and consolidate a bit more. Whereas Rohit, even in the 100 that he got, he just went throughout, right? Like it was
Yeah.
not for lack of trying that he's not being able to score. It's not coming off.
Just can't
So
convert.
just slightly different. They're playing slightly different roles from each other.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is why it's almost better to think about Kohli as the opener and Rohit as the number 4, if you think about it, or number 3.
Yeah. Yeah. Very interesting. All right. We have lots more time to talk about Team India. We wrap up the week on Friday. We already talked about Saturday's rain curtail game. On Friday, Gujarat played CSK. CSK needed to win, not necessarily a must win, but would have helped them have an easier run going into the playoffs. And Gujarat came out and made 231 for 3. I mean, Sai Sudarshan and Shubman both made centuries. I can't remember the last time both batters made centuries. I think I read the stat and I have it written down somewhere. But man, I mean, is Shubman Gill going through this? I don't have as much pressure because I wasn't selected, but also I kind of want to show you that you made a mistake by not selecting me, phase, for the T20 World Cup.
I mean, they're all proud, right? Like they would have all liked to be selected, but I don't think he merited it. I don't think you need a Shubman if you've got a
No, yeah,
Kohli
I
in
know.
the
But if he wanted
in
to, and he's
the
not trying to send a message, yeah.
Yeah, as you should.
Or
Just
at the
keep
very least
doing
saying,
your
listen,
thing.
I'm next in line the minute the gap
Squad
opens
can
in the
still
door.
change, right?
Yeah.
Till the 24th.
Yeah, phenomenal win for the Gujarat team.
Yeah. I mean, Sai Sudarshan as well. The other guy that we talked about last week was him saying, is he going to walk in next? I mean, he's doing himself no harm. This is the next generation that we're watching. We're watching Gale, we're watching Sai Sudarshan, we're watching Ruturaj, we're watching Parag, we're watching all of these guys come through the ranks. I mean, my ideal team this time would have actually been captained by someone like Sky. You
Mm-hmm.
get one
Mm-hmm.
one guy, T20 batsman number 1, and you just
Yeah.
like surround him by crazy, like teenage sensation type players who just anyway. But that's a different story.
Yeah, we talked about that
That's
at
not
length.
this story.
All right, and then we came to Super Sunday where you had the double header. CSK played Rajasthan, like I mentioned. Kind of a slow game, slow pitch.
Crap
CSK
game.
wicket,
Really
141. But I have to give a shout out to Simarjit Singh, 3 for 26 in his 4 overs, basically changed the game and kept this alive like we talked. Rajasthan still teetering with 3 losses in a row. And CSK kept themselves alive. I think a loss would have made
Talk
it
to me
very
about
difficult.
the Jadeja obstructing the field, though.
Yeah. Did you get a chance to watch the clip?
I saw that bit, yeah. I saw that today.
I mean, there was some commentator. Basically, the summary from me is as he was running to try to get back to the other end, diverted his path, and the ball ended up hitting him. And there were some commentators saying, "Oof, this will be hotly debated." And I looked at that and said, "There would be zero debate."
He's looked back, changed his track.
Yeah.
He's also got smacked in the back in the process. And what I liked was Sanju went up straight away.
Yeah.
Sanju was like, "What is this?" His hand went up. He's like, "What is this guy doing?"
Yeah. And
he's blocking the throw, and he was absolutely right.
I don't even think I haven't seen anything yet, but I don't think Jadeja is going to debate it. I don't think
why would you? What is your debate? No, there's nothing to debate. I was disappointed though that they sent Rizvi out and not Tala.
I was going to ask you
last innings at Chennai, man. It could be if they don't make it to the playoffs, then it is his last innings at
there's
Chennai.
Clearly enough belief that they will make it to the playoffs and they will.
So there was a great poll. Did you watch the poll during the morning? Which was
I
like,
don't think so.
will Chennai qualify? One option was certainly. The second was probably not. Clearly
Nice.
a take on definitely not,
Nice.
right? Like I thought
Definitely
that was
not.
pretty funny.
Definitely not.
But yeah, this time he sent the youngsters that clearly Dhoni's seen some spark in this time. So
Yeah.
youngsters do not lack spark anymore.
You mean Ruturaj has seen some spark in now?
Okay, let's go with that.
No comment. All
Let's
right,
go
man.
with that.
Depressing way to wrap up the week for us as Delhi fans. But RCB came out at the Chinnaswamy, made 187. Very, very full marks to Rajat Patidar, by the way. I mentioned the Kohli Ishant incident that happened, but then Patidar walks in at 36 for 2 with both Kohli and Faf gone. And the match could have gone a couple of different ways. And he's in partnership with Will Jacks, put up, just 90 odd runs, made it brilliant 50, 187. And Delhi just didn't have the ability to chase it down. There was a couple things that changed this game for me. I don't know if you saw it.
Yeah, but
In the
that's the
span
other
of
thing.
10,
they've got like Will Jackson.
yeah, instead of Maxwell,
They've
yeah,
worked out their combination. They've got some big wins where they've won with losing a
yep,
wicket in like
yep,
10, 14 overs. They won by 60 runs. They won by 40 runs. That's why RCB, as I was saying, Delhi had big losses. We lost
mm-hmm.
really big, and it's going to come back
100
to bite us.
runs,
And it
yep,
has come back to bite us.
yep, yep,
RCB, on the other hand, were losing by smaller margins, and they were
yep,
winning by big margins. So, I mean, all of this plays into the RCB mathematicians'
yeah,
like hands, right?
yeah. And so as you look at this game finally, and again, I know you haven't fully caught up on it. You can look at the scorecard and say 187 runs scored. You can look at the bowling scorecard and say Yash Dayal picked up 3, Lockie took 2. You can look at Delhi's bowling, all of those things. To me, this was the example of a match that got defined entirely by fielding.
Okay.
10 balls during a Kuldeep over, 4 drop catches. 1 was difficult, 3 were makeable. Delhi dropped 4 catches in 10 balls, in the span of 10 balls. Yeah, I mean, this is real. On the other, RCB, on the
But
other
you know
hand,
why, right? It's like you've got Dada and Ricky both sitting in the camp. One is saying, I'll do fielding practice. The other guy's like, I don't care about fielding. Like,
I thought you were going to say the combination of. I thought you were going to say no, Rishabh got disallowed to play and 4 drop catches makes you kind of wonder what's happening behind the scenes. Which I'm not saying. But 4 drop catches and then some bad luck, etc. But there was an absolutely magnificent catch. I'm trying to remember who it was. So no offense intended. Maybe I think it was Lucky. Yeah. And anyway, running in, 2 RCB fielders were running in, almost collided, took the brilliant catch. 1 got out of the way at the last second and they held on. And then there was Jake Fraser McGurk, got run out, clipped the bails. Now, he was backing up way too far, but clipped the bails, got hit the stump. And then Tristan Stubbs, Akshar Patel defended a ball, started to set off, didn't. Tristan Stubbs was halfway down, turned around, started running back. Cam Green, the bowler, grabs it, turns full speed, hits the stumps. 2 run-outs and a catch that made all the difference when this could have been very chaseable. I will give a shout out to Akshar, 57 off 39, hit some nice sixes and some nice boundaries. And if he couldn't get his team to the playoffs in his first match as captain, he sure as heck screamed to the India selectors to say, I can make it as a 7, even as a 6 in the side. So very, very interesting. Right, DJ, we're a week away from the group stage of the IPL being done. I'm looking at next Sunday at this time. By the time we record this, we will be into Rajasthan. KKR is the final match, which will define the top 2. So it's going to be extremely interesting. Thank you for powering through. I know we had to adjust the schedule this week because you played some cricket. Varun's out sick, but we made it happen.
we're doing
Thank you all
fantasy.
for listening. Oh yeah, we're going to do a fantasy update. I was trying to avoid that because I'm doing horrendously badly.
Varun is 9th.
Varun is currently in 9th in our league. You are currently 19th. And then I'm going to not talk about my score. I'm in 42nd. I've had an awful, awful, awful season. I did miss one game, I will say, because I thought the app allowed you to select your side after the toss is delayed. And by the time I went there for the Mumbai KKR game, it said teams are locked. So I missed that game, but I'm like 4,000 points behind. One game didn't make a difference, to be clear. But our top 3 teams are Uncle Sam, who stayed near the top for quite a while, Ons 108, and Bishnoi Boy. Great team name.
Is Ons like an Ons Jabbar fan or something?
I don't know, but the name team manager's name is Vijay Manoharan. So Vijay, write into us. Let us know if it's an Ons Jabbar reference or something else. But Yeah, DJ, thank you for joining me. This has been fun. Another good week. A little bit more drama filled than the last couple, where there was a little more quiet. We'll be back next week to talk about a preview of the playoffs, the qualifiers, and the eliminator. Suddenly, then the void hits in your life. The Monday, May 20th, when for the first time in 7 weeks, there's no IPL cricket. We are all mentally preparing ourselves to deal with it. But before we know it, the T20 World Cup will be upon us. This has been the Edges and Sledges Cricket Podcast. Thank you very much for joining us. We will see you next week.